Alright, I'm going to show you guys everything you need to know to make your first After Effects project. So first, we're going to want to hit new project, and then we need to upload some footage to edit. So all of our footage is going to be stored in this left box over here, and the easiest way to import some footage is just by dragging it into the box. And you can also double click or right click, go to import file. So once we have our footage in, we need to make a new composition to actually edit it. So the easiest way to do this is by dragging your footage over to this new composition icon. And once we do that, we've made a new composition. So over here in the bottom left, we have all the footage in our composition. So we only have one clip, but if we add more, they'll just stack on top of each other. And to the right, we have the timeline, and this blue line basically indicates where we are in the video. So as you can see, as I move this line, I basically scrub through the video. And over here, you can see that the video is almost 50 seconds, which is pretty long for an After Effects video, because generally when you do an effect, you tend to go frame by frame, and it takes a long time to go frame by frame for 50 seconds. And when you do go frame by frame, you're going to want to zoom in to the particular section that you're working on. So the easiest way to do this is by using these small blue tabs, and you just move them closer to this blue line. As you can see, we're zooming in on the clip. So right here, we see frames instead of seconds, and then to zoom out, we just move them back to where they were. And also, when we do go frame by frame, we can move these bigger blue tabs to change our work area. And basically what that does is when we press play, it's only going to play that small segment of the video. A quick shortcut for this is you can press B to move the left one in, and then you can move a little farther and then press N to close the other end. So going back to the left side here, we see our footage, and there's a little drop down here, and when we press that, we see transform and audio. Obviously audio deals with the sound, but we're not going to be editing that too much today, so we're just going to focus on transform. So here we have all sorts of things that can affect this video. So we have opacity, change the opacity, and then rotation, scale, position, angle, point, all those things that can change the video. So obviously rotation, you can turn it around, scale changes the actual scale of the video, and so on. And then moving over to this right box, we have a bunch of useful things. So first off, we have effects and presets. So this has a bunch of effects that we can use to change our video and add effects to it. So we can add blurs, we can color correct, we can do so many things with these effects. You can also access these effects by going up to effect, and then there's a drop down that basically reflects what's over here. And right above the effects and presets, we have the preview, which lets us go frame by frame. So if we press this, we can go to the next frame and the next frame and so on. And then we have this, which lets us go to the previous frame, and this play button obviously plays the video. And then up here in the left, we have our toolbar with a bunch of tools. So this one is the selection tool, which is the one we're using right now, and this is just a regular tool that lets you move stuff around, and the hand tool right next to it lets you move the video but without actually moving the frame itself. So as you can see, if I go back to the selection tool by pressing V and I move this, then it moves the video out of the actual frame. So a lot of these other tools are a bit complicated, and we're not going to get into those today, but a really useful tool is the pen tool, which is going to allow us to make a mask, which is going to be super useful. Now that you guys have a decent idea about the main things in the program, we're going to go ahead and make a really simple effect. And I think the best way to learn After Effects is just by trying out a bunch of things and making your own effects, and then kind of learning as you go. So today we're going to make this box look like it's floating. To do this, we're going to be using masks. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a clean plate, and basically that's going to be a picture or a frame with nothing in it and just the background. So to do this, I'm going to find the place where I get out of the frame. Alright, right here. So you might have noticed that the video played really slowly, and that's because when you first play it, After Effects has to render it. And you can see that the green section is the part that has been rendered. So if we play it again, now it plays in real time, kind of. So once we've found our clean plate, we're going to want to split this clip. So we're going to do this by pressing Command-Shift-D, which splits the clip. And I'm just going to go forward one frame, and then I want to do it again so that we have just this one frame. So now you can see we have 3 layers, and the layers just stack on top of each other, just like you would stack up like a stack of books. So this is like the bottom book, and then the middle book, and then the top book. So the beginning is just me not doing really anything, so we can just get rid of that just by pressing delete. And then here we have all this empty space, and then here we actually see the frame. So what we're going to do, since this is a pretty long clip, we're going to zoom in. And then we're going to take our frame and then align it with our other clip. And then now we're going to trim up the beginning. So we're going to press B to change our work area, and then we're going to right click and click trim comp to work area. And now we just got rid of that beginning empty space. So under this top clip, we have our clean plate, but it only lasts for one frame. So to fix this, we're going to freeze the frame. So we're going to go up to layer, time, freeze frame. So now we can just drag this out as long as we want, and it's just going to be one frame. So let's just zoom out. and then make this go all the way. So now we're going to find a good spot where I'm holding the box. Alright, right here looks fine. So I'm going to press B, and then I'm going to right click and then trim comp to work area to trim it again. And so now we just have this video of me holding a box. And what we're going to want to do is we're going to use a mask to get rid of my hand and my body. So to create a mask, we're going to click our top layer because the top layer is the one with my body in it. And then we're going to zoom in a little bit by pressing Command plus, or you can scroll with your mouse. And then you can also hold space to change the selection tool to a hand tool, and then you can move your video around. So we're just going to zoom in a little bit and then move it around. And then we're going to go up here to the pen tool, and then we're going to create a mask. So we're going to just make some dots and then connect the dots. So you can zoom in, and then basically you want the mask to cover up me. So I'm just going to go here and then connect the dots. Out here it doesn't really matter what shape the mask takes. It's just really important that I cut over here between my hand and the box. So I'm just going to close this mask by just going around really roughly. And then once I go back here to this double square, it's going to close the mask. So as you can see, the box disappeared. But that's because there's different modes for the mask, and I need to change the mode. So I'm going to go here down to the drop down, and then go to masks, and then here it says add. So what add does, it basically takes the clip that I just trimmed, and it only has the mask part. So what we need to change is I'm going to go down here and go to subtract. And now it cuts out my hand and my body. So now I'm not there, but it looks kind of weird because this part's darker and then this part's light, right? So we're going to fix that. So we're going to go back to our pen tool by pressing V, and then we're going to go down to effects and presets. So let's close the preview, go to effects and presets, and then we're going to type in curves. So we're going to take the curves, and then we're going to drag it down to the bottom clip. So the bottom clip is the darker clip because the top clip is what we cut out. So as you can see, we just used an effect and then we added it onto the bottom clip. So the bottom clip, we're basically going to change the brightness. So we're going to make it brighter to match this clip. So to make it brighter, we're just going to drag this line up just a bit, and then we're going to see what looks good. So just a little bit more. Now as you can see, it's a bit brighter now. And also another thing we can do is we can go over here, over to masks, and then we can add a feather, which basically makes the mask less sharp. So as you can see, if I feather it just a little bit, that edge, you can't really see it anymore. But the only problem with that is it makes this a bit blurry, which is why we don't want to feather it too much. So we'll go down a bit, maybe to 4. Alright, that doesn't look too bad. So now if we play the video, we can see that the mask doesn't move. So to fix this, we have to animate the mask. To do that, we need to change the movement of the mask. So we do this by keyframing the mask. So basically keyframing is animating the mask. So we're going to first press the stopwatch next to mask path, which creates a starting keyframe. And this tells After Effects that at this exact moment in the clip, the mask should have this shape. So then once we go to the next frame by going to preview and then going to the next frame, and then we change the mask just a little bit, it tells After Effects that the mask moved. So we're going to zoom in a little bit just to make this easier, and we're going to change the shape of this mask to fit around the box. So as you can see, all of these squares are colored, and that means the entire mask is selected. So if I move the mask, the entire thing is going to move, and that's not really what we want. So instead, we're going to click so that our selection tool is white, not black, because if it's black, then that means After Effects thinks we're selecting the mask. So we're going to make sure it's white, and then now there's circles, so now we can choose individual points. So we can choose this, and now only this square is colored and these are empty. So we can move this to fit around the box. And then if we click away, zoom out, and then click away, it looks pretty bad. So we're going to change it. Alright, we'll click away. As you can see, when I click on this gray space, the mask disappears. So you can see what it looks like when the pink line aren't there. This looks okay. Obviously, we can take some more time and make it better, but for the sake of the tutorial, we're just going to move on. So we can go frame by frame and change the shape of the mask. So I'm going to do this a few more times and then just speed up the video. So I'm going to select point and then move it. And then next frame, And I'm just going to keep doing this. And another quick tip is, once you've selected off the mask and you don't see the line, then an easy way to see it again is by clicking the layer the mask is on. So in this case, the mask is on the top layer, so we just click this, and then now the mask is here again. And if you want to move more than one point, then you can just click a point and then find a spot where the selection tool is white, and then just select multiple, and then now it's much easier to move this. And you also don't have to go frame by frame. You can skip a few frames if it feels too tedious. Alright, now here you can see I edited a few seconds of it. I changed the work area, so I only play a small segment of the video, and then when I press play, you can see that it kind of looks like it's floating. I mean, it's not the best effect of all time, but I mean, you can perfect it if you spend more time on it. And also you can see that as the video plays, this part gets darker. So to change that, we're gonna go over here, and then we're gonna keyframe the curve. So we're gonna press the stopwatch, so it tells the darker video that at this point in time you're gonna be this brightness, and then as we move forward in time, let's just go to the end over here. Okay, so now we're basically telling it, okay, at this point in time, you're going to get brighter. So maybe like that's good. Alright, so let's see how it looks now. Yeah, so it's a bit better now, but to avoid this, you can just make sure the lighting is constant and you won't have this problem. And if you want to export this video, you can just go to composition, add to render queue. And normally for other softwares, you go to file and save as, but After Effects is different because you have to actually render the video. So yeah, you can just save this to wherever you want and then just press render and then it'll save. Alright guys, I hope that made sense. If you have any questions, just comment them down below. And yeah, like and subscribe.